Nice smileys. I feel happy.
So we got the Zillion, but it's not really a super Zillion comp, is it?
No, usually we talk about Zillion like with KT or with Energy, and they run Zillion Poppy. Instead, they decide to first pick the Echo here and get the more dominant laning phase as Darshan takes the Poppy instead. The Sivir makes a return, which is nice to see, the early draft of the Sivir. And then we have the Graves coming in with Braum, so they have a solid front line. It's pretty standard composition. They're going to be very strong in the late game, able to use that Zillion ultimate to bring people back to life. On the other hand, CLG, they do have a weaker front line in this game because they only have really Poppy.
Kind of also Aurelion Sol.
Kind
I will
of,
remember this slight Susie SMORC. Your father was a hamster and smelt of elderberries SMORC.
That's from Monty Python and the Quest for the Holy Grail, right there.
Classy.
Yeah. So the Aurelion Soul does provide tankiness because you are going to be building Rod Rylai's, but it's not with Bard Aurelion Soul. It's not going to be the same level of frontline as basically what SK Telecom is running.
And let's talk about the 2v2 laning matchup, because Kalista Bard is a fuck-off lane, with Ignite especially, and they're going to be against Sivir Braum, so it's a disaster 2v2.
Yep.
So lane swap would be lovely if they could get it. Zillion versus Aurelion Sol, obviously has this matchup even happened in solo queue? It's like one of the most underplayed champions and one of the most underplayed champions. You just think about the matchup, and it's going to be another one where if the Zillion's hitting double bombs, really going to punish. Aurelion Sol's not going to build any magic, because this really wants to build Rod of Ages and health from Rylai's, so we'll take a lot of harass, but it's not a prototypical Zillion comp, but it's good to see the Zillion come out. And Zillion's interesting because it's a champion that balances utility with actual kill potential, at least early, so it is like an aggressive Lulu and Karma in some other ways.
Yeah. I mean, it seems pretty good in terms of the laning phase. Obviously, in standard lanes, which they do get in this game. Okay, we're gonna have to turn this off. Just a Sivir
It's
comp.
just a Sivir comp. You group and Y and LMAO.
But these are all pretty good.
These are good. But I will read it afterwards, but I want to actually be able to respond to this, guys, so I'm going to turn the text-to-speech off. And if you donate during the game, I will read it afterwards, and otherwise we can all giggle at the memes when everything is done.
We will have text-to-speech on during Champ Select and everything except game, basically.
Yeah, so we're going to be just disabling that for the time being. So thank you for your donation, Pain Aid. And
Barry.
And Barry. Law students aren't supposed to have any money, Barry. You should be giving us your money. Alright, so let's get into this actual game.
I can't believe I'm G could here. Yes, the Zillion should be a fantastic game. A lot of brawling, I think, going to make. The Rift is owned by CounterLogic Gaming in the previous head-to-head. The hashtag SKT can it, and it looks like CounterLogic Gaming moving out. We'll see if they start anything off interesting. SKT probably looking at a pretty good base game in the early here, so they can start making moves as soon as they open up the map.
So 2v2 laning for CLG is really important. CLG's been probably the most interesting team at level 1 because they've been doing a lot of invades, a lot of information gathering. They really want to guarantee 2v2 because they will crush Blank and Wolf in a standard lane.
Also, when I noticed when I was watching this game, when was the last time you saw SK Telecom do an invade like this? At Deep Ward. It's been a really long time. The Korean teams just don't do this.
In general, SKT have been different day on day, so they have been certainly getting coaching and learning things.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying this is an abnormality for SK Telecom big time.
Well, they desperately want standard lanes,
yeah. And to go through what's going on right now, so Kalista, if we look at how the vision that was gained, so they do see Kalista going back right there, walking back around the lane, and Stixxay's going to stay here just so he can hide himself, and they're not going to know, because if he moves right now anywhere, he's going to get seen by the wards. So he does just want to stick around to try and get the standard lanes if he can. Also, of course, they will see CLG if they do swap lanes and recall and head back into that top side. And so Bard is just going to be moving
They really want the
Interesting Deathfire touch on Zillion. Of all masteries, that's a really interesting one. If you think
I
about
would not
it,
have expected that.
So, does Zillion Q still do true damage per tick? Maybe Twitch chat knows. Because remember, Zillion's Q...
That actually is true. It does do 1, 2, 3
it used
damage.
to. I don't know if after the rework they changed it at all. Because I think it has to do damage, otherwise you just don't take tower aggro and it's ridiculous.
Right. That's why I
So
did
does that mean that Deathfire touch is
That's a
applied?
really good point. It must mean. That's the only thing that makes sense as to why you would take it.
Because you're taking a damage...
Because otherwise, there's no point to taking it. Because
So
you're
it's
never going
like-
to stack it. So it must do that.
So it'd be like a dot for the first 3 seconds.
Yep.
So you'd end up getting like 5 seconds maybe, or 4 seconds.
Yep.
Interesting. That's really...
That's clever.
I never
and we didn't
noticed
see that. I don't think we saw. Maybe we did in Champions, but I think I would have remembered that.
Deathfire touch is not one of the normal masteries. Is Twitch chat saying anything interesting about it?
Thunderlords doesn't work on his Qs if you don't AA. It also stops back.
Well, that does sound like it implies that it works with... That's really interesting. I didn't notice that during the broadcast. Bang's forced to take Warlords.
It draws turret aggro but doesn't do damage, the ticking.
Oh, okay.
Alright. It's weird that he would take it then.
Yeah, I don't get...
Because if you
Deathfire touch
QQ
thing.
auto, it will proc the Thunderlords.
So what are his other options? Let's think about it. If you're hitting double bombs all day, then obviously Storm Raider Surge would be interesting, but you're not going to do that very much.
No, yeah, that's... And it also, like, you're going to fall off late game, and you may not be able to do enough damage with Thunderlords late unless you hit...
So, I mean, Deathfire Touch does more damage than Thunderlords, I believe, but he only has 1 damaging spell, so... I guess the thing about Thunderlords is that Thunderlords is better when you do multiple spells, and he only has 1 damaging spell, so you probably don't proc it very often because you always need to auto-attack twice. Interesting, though. Maybe there's just no great choice.
It's possible.
an advantage. We had 3 bot lane bans.
Who we started with
Plus
Ignite,
sealed
but changed to
yesterday, and it wasn't
heal
enough.
again.
Very true. Yep, and they're even
I don't get the heal.
Camp, obviously, not a big
I
advantage.
understand that I don't
For
need
Black
teleport,
Wolf.
but
So just standard lanes
I mean, you
all
don't need
one.
exhaust this game either.
Heavily preferred
Maybe you
by
just
a bar
take
lane.
heal by process of
Bounce
elimination.
back is non-existent with the health packs. How
I don't know.
could
I
this
think
survive?
teleport is
You're
always
going
useful because what CLG is going to be doing is still wave clearing in a side lane with Aurelion Soul at some point.
Sivir did take Warlord. It's the nerfed Warlord, so it only does 25% healing for ranged champions on minions, so...
They guess wrong, and they have to use teleport level 1.
Yeah, but that's the dicey situation for SKT, and they're going to be zoned off pretty aggressively in
I
the
mean,
early
Wolf
game.
even takes exhaust as well.
Yep.
He had Ignite, he changed to exhaust, so he's just boned. They're just boned completely.
Definitely taken the aggression of positioning and seriously.
And Stix's main flaw for me has been
But they will have the scaling advantage later
from his creeps while trying to trade aggressively.
with the Sivir and the
Not
team
making big
fights.
It's paramount to get perfect CS because you have no pressure, and here that's what Ephraim was looking for.
So
All
just some
three-
harassment right
all
now.
3 spell thief stacks.
Everything's going
They
pretty
have a meat,
normally.
get their ass off. So really bad
Graves
for
is not going to actually...
the one saving grace in the matchup is
He
that
does play a little bit
he
risky here because there was possibility of a Kindred
projectile
invade onto him,
so he can never stun
but
that is the laning pattern.
not actually going to
Literally
happen right
so
here.
as the junglers come in,
So
defense
he
on
gets...
stuns.
Blight does get away with a little bit
Take a look at what the junglers are doing now.
And it almost
of
synergizes
so
against
just slightly greedy
the
pathing. Obviously, he didn't do a
wants
full
to
clear,
put the
but
block. Oh man. Enjoy getting cosmic bound. Pretty much all.
and he started on the bottom side too because they thought that they basically thought there was going to be a lane swap coming in. So they didn't actually get any of the Krugs because he started over there at Krugs instead. So they thought the mind games from CLG would mean that the lane swap was going in, but because Stixay just stayed in lane that entire time, didn't end up happening. You see that big CS gap already starting to develop in the bottom lane. Same thing with the top lane, so pretty much to be expected right now.
And once again, Hui got a free back, so he was able to shove up. Zillion has no way without blue or like level 7 or 9 to push the wave back, so can just do that same strategy. Aurelion Soul, push him back.
It's a pretty rough matchup with Poppy early, but if he can stay down roughly 10 CS,
Like Aurelion Soul is like super,
of this matchup
what's
throughout
the
the
word?
tournament,
he's able to just exit lane all the time against Zillion early. So I actually really like this roam.
Yeah, they've obviously practiced pretty significantly with it in order to get that done.
Oh, the Kindred mark. On and off. Kind of Duke's like, what? Oh, I smell something.
Yeah. That's all they need to do, buy time for Dasham. And even if they could poke out Duke,
So it's just going to be a waiting game right now until the action actually goes down. I mean, Bowie Nice just threatening the weaker lane with the roam, relieving a small amount of pressure up there.
Yeah.
only ACS down.
Yeah, that first wave actually hit pretty good.
So SKT have some issues forcing things in that while they have the Sivir ultimate, like you really do need the double bomb from Faker to get initiation or some significant chase from Wolf. They do have double teleport though, which CLG have, because CLG can still 1-3-1 because you can do interesting things through the river with Aurelion Sol, but double teleport plays as a counter gank is their best way to make things happen, especially compared to Poppy, who is great at aggressive teleports.
Really exquisite decision making which CS he goes for.
I mean, they don't need the double bomb for engage, though, because as long as Duke gets a TP flank once he has Iceborne, they should be okay.
The TP flank echo is like pretty situational, right? Like, I guess you can just run at them and do damage and miss your parallel conversions, but it's...
No, as long as you have Iceborne, you can totally get the catch-up with Sivir ult. That combination will work out well. And also,
It's not Poppy.
the Iceborne... No, it's not. But Iceborne will also set up the double bomb nicely.
Sure.
Play a little more aggressive.
But this literally the difference between, like,
The one limiting factor when you have a winning match.
Faker first time playing Zillion and Faker playing Zillion for the fourth, fifth time is accuracy on double bombs and, like, the balls to flash try and double bomb stun people. Like, that's what Fly was able to do and why he was such a head turner on Zillion. And then Faker started doing it as well, so Faker's mastery of another champion is basically confirmed.
So here we go. They try and actually set up for a dive here on the bottom side, but it's read by SKT. They are going to be able to get out of that, flashing the ultimate there from Aurelion Sol. And just some damage on the turret. But CLG is just trying to snowball this lane right now because they want to just... What CLG wants to do is they want to turn this winning lane into an early objective and then just rotate around while they still have this big, big lead in the lane, and Sivir needs the farm to go power up.
It's because they have such massive pressure advantage in mid as well with who can be able to push in that they can just get this for free. They basically get 2 summoners for an Aurelion Sol ultimate.
Yep, and half a turret too, so nicely played there. Blank also, because he has to respond to this, isn't getting a terribly large farm advantage over Xmithy early, so CLG doing a good job here in the early game of dealing with this. And SKT can't actually go help out Duke really on the top side at the moment either.
Not that he needs any help.
But it is hard for CLG to play around this because SKT does have pretty good wave clear here. So even if they were to try and make some plays, I think that it would still be hard to actually push out some of these turrets, especially because Stixxay does go Blade of the Ruined King first instead of Runins first in this game, which I disagree with because I think you can put down more pressure with the Runins, but there's also the aspect that you can send the Aurelion Sol to push out the side lane instead of the Callista. But I just think that Runins is better if you want to just continue taking turrets at this early stage of the game, considering you already did a lot of work on the bottom side.
Because doesn't Blade mean you want an extended laning phase? Like, Blade is a great lane... Blade first is a great laning item, and it gives you kill pressure against a Sivir.
But it doesn't really align with the pressure they're able to put on the map right now, because they can just keep pushing up mid, and as long as you have Runins, you can actually control the minion wave a lot better.
And that's my surprise, is that obviously the plan this game is to keep rotating around bottom until you take the turret, therefore Hurricane makes a lot more sense.
I really didn't like the Blade first this game.
Because Hurricane just lets you stick the good old Callista in mid. Free wave clear.
Well, yeah, I mean, as soon as you get those other turrets down, too. Especially since you already did so much work on that bottom side. And extending the laning phase is not something you want, at least in the top side right now. Where Duke is starting to get very annoying in terms of his harassment.
Out of mana, though.
Yep.
The bomb's really
Oom.
losing a bit. If it didn't kill it, it just fizzles out. So Baker doing a good job of keeping himself safe on this CSI.
Stragglers, huh?
Just what we wanted.
Oh, God. Discount Doe is back.
Discount Susie shit.
I like the gender swapping there, Robin.
new Zillion mechanic. Yeah, really fun to watch good Zillion players play. They combine the
Apparently you are. You're the one who
Hold
just said
yourself,
it.
discount Susie.
No, I meant the concept of the job. Like, not, oh my god, Jesus Christ.
You just want to pop in and say hello and then
as it goes.
No.
yeah.
Well, nobody knows my face, so I'm just gonna say.
Alright, Robin the translator's here. Apparently he has some sort of thing where he can't be on camera.
Hello, SK fans, it's George.
Oh, is George here?
Kappa, it's Robin. Pull out the blue cards. Oh my god.
Why are you two fuckers here?
I was hanging out with him.
Oh,
Grab some beer.
sorry about that.
Why aren't you in the army yet?
Yeah. Well, I will.
For your service.
I will be soon.
Go die for America.
Discount Susie A-Cup, holy shit, that's fucking hilarious.
Well, yeah, I hope you're not bigger than Aiko.
Me neither.
Alright, well, I figured I picked up these stragglers.
It's not Barry, Risen Lazarus. It is not Barry. Although I love Barry. Barry's awesome. Barry is my senpai. He's literally my senpai.
Alright, can you stop?
Alright,
That's good. That's making us all cringy.
Barry is nobody's senpai.
that's true.
Alright, so they need to. Guys,
We need to VOD
they're
review.
VOD reviewing.
Continue.
We
I
will.
wasn't inhibiting anything.
Yeah, alright, Peanut Gallery.
We do have 7,000 of those on the stream as well.
CLG's playing towards their strong side on the bot lane. There's teleport for Darshan.
Alright, that's about as good of a trade you're going to get in this
Is
situation,
it
too.
rendered? Yeah, it just rendered then. Okay.
Yeah. But the split right there was actually... Okay, let's talk about the setup for this. Because... So, Faker goes to get his blue buff right now. And if you take a look at what happens, they're going to be able to see Faker on the mid wave. They see him exit right as the minion wave starts moving again. After
They know
he kills
exactly
it.
where he is.
They know exactly where he is. So they're going to try and make a play here. That's why the Kindred's coming down. But they're already split. So this actually ends up okay for SKT. And the reaction is actually quite good. Because they're not really able to do a whole lot. And the trade ends up being pretty even in a situation where it probably should not be. And they also get in right here with the TP. And where is the TP from Poppy? Oh, the TP from Poppy is all the way back here. So the fact that they're already on this side of the turret instead of over here is very good. They're going to come back to Duke. And they're going to force some flashes out right here and the Kindred ultimate. Now, if you're SKT, you already won this. You used your 2 TPs, basically, and you don't want to really follow up anymore because the dive is dead. Not only that, Styx A is super low, Afrobu is super low, Xmithie is super low. Now you have a chance to get back and to actually push right here. Remember that Blank is still in the mid, so there's no need to actually pursue this kill, especially while the Bard ultimate is up. So the initial response was really, really good from SK Telecom.
You can't really call an over pursual though. It's not like they really commit to it. They're still like a flash away from.
But
turret.
there's absolutely no reason to go in on that.
Sure.
You just wait. What should be happening right now is if we go back just a few seconds, that as soon as you get in this position where
you're
they're
saying
already
Wolf
on the
walked up.
retreat. Yep, Bang's because the Chrono Shift is already on Bang and he has to retreat because nobody actually kills him. Don't walk up right here. Who's gonna actually get the ult down onto Bang because Bang was moving forward still. He kind of walked down then walked back forward instead of walking further back. And what should be happening is that Blank should be in the mid lane pushing out the mid wave. These guys should all be retreating, and they still have an advantage to help push this lane. Duke and Faker can go ahead and push this up. This wave's already pushing this way. So
I mean, the initial gank by CLG is great because they know that one person definitely can't be there. It has to be at maximum a 5v4 or a 5v3. They get both teleports. I think SKT play it about as well as you could be. Like
the first part they played really
even
well.
then, like it's literally only Wolf that gets ulted. Like, who really commits. You know, Blank does get to push up the waves.
A little bit late though.
Given the scenario, it's still a 7 out of 10 for SKT on that situation.
Yeah, I'm just pointing out how it could be a 10 out of 10 Papa's Baby.
You're into the 10 out of 10 players. Well, MSI is not the tournament for you.
It's not. And the setup here was a little wacky from CLG too, because the Bard was split off, and the Kindred was here, and the Poppy was TPing in here, so pushing forward on the turret was exactly right for SKT, and they did handle the initial part very well. Could have been cleaned up just a little bit better, and this is a problem because now, of course, we see that Bang is going to be even further behind in terms of CS
I mean, just
now.
pause it here. Remember that the information was that Faker went to get blue with the jungler, so the jungler can't be there.
So they know 2 people can't be there.
The pathing from Kindred's great. You can see it in the bottom corner. Poppy's the first person to teleport. This is a great proactive play by CLG. Like, this is exactly well timed. Both counter teleports are going to be at minimum 3.5 seconds late.
Yep.
They do about as well as can do in this situation.
Yeah, where is the... See, the thing is, too, is that Poppy doesn't even TP. Poppy TP's on a ward further behind. Bye.
Bye-bye, friends.
Peace out.
Poppy doesn't TP on this ward. Poppy is TPing on a further ward away, right? So I don't even like the ward choice that Darshan actually ends up TPing on.
I want to watch Shivell Soul, because I haven't actually watched the ult to see how clutch it is.
Honestly, a bit of a misplay.
Just walks up and ults.
They pulled the trigger too early, but they recover as a team. And this is something we've seen time and time again throughout the tournament. You may overreach.
Flashes away from the first bomb.
I mean, how many flashes did they use there, too?
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4.
I mean, that's pretty rough, considering that SKT didn't even use a flash.
They used 0. Well, that's
Bangs was already down.
Oh, okay.
Bangs was already down.
So he couldn't have flashed the ult then.
See?
Okay.
His flash is already down.
His flash is about 30 seconds there. Okay.
So there's a lot of playmaking opportunities now, is the point for SKT.
And finally, Blank did have time to get, 12 CS advantage. That's something.
Duke trying to put his aggression on there in the top lane. He probably won't let Darshan get too much. But Darshan as well. Fights back and forth. Duke's all right on that phase dive. He gets out with the passive speed. But back and forth. They're trying to hit each other up here, so when teleports come up, it won't be too much useful.
We can probably skip this one.
Well, you don't want to watch the Grasp of the Undying duels in the top lane?
No.
Okay, we'll skip it then.
We missed a dragon, by the way.
Wow, so we missed a dragon. Thanks a lot, Papa Smith.
Sorry. One more grasp proc, please.
I mean, because they killed Bang, they have an opportunity to do this, is basically the answer to that
also, they
question. They have Kindred and Callista.
Also,
so.
they just have Callista Braum versus Sivir. Like, sorry, Callista Bard, so... At minimum, you should be getting those dragons.
After move, if you know the jungle, you can actually go for a kill on Bang here. Spell shield was used, so...
So would he have had Hurricane at this gold value?
That is an interesting question.
So Bilgewater costs 1650.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's. I'm pretty sure he has it already.
Yeah, I think he does.
Or maybe 100 gold difference, but I'm pretty sure he would have had it in this scenario. Maybe not, because he doesn't have boots, so but it would have been close.
13 minutes in, Blank looks like he feels completely.
Also, Zeal's 1300 now.
Oh, 1300.
So maybe would have just not had it.
Every time he pushes, he's looking for an opportunity to roam.
Also, we have to mention that Bang goes for the Cull right here, which is... I don't know about that.
You don't like your culls when you're behind, do you, Monty?
I don't like my culls when you're behind and in a losing matchup. Either of those things make me sad, but I guess Bang thinks that the extra value is worth it right there. I would have, thought maybe you'd be on your way to Essence Reaver.
Hey man, it's little things.
You kept count on that. We're tallying that score. Very smart.
So we're just going to fast forward this a tiny bit.
So when they do show Faker's laning, he starts hitting a lot of double bombs in laning phase and chunking out Aurelion Sol, so just a side point to show that he's really developing his Zillion skills.
I tried to bait him in right there a little bit.
It was actually a flash from Bard. So Crepper mentioned the interaction that Bard's Unbreakable pops the second part of the Q. Which makes sense, I just hadn't thought about the interaction. Yes, Aphromo flash. Nice reactions.
Yeah, good Unbreakable, but I couldn't actually follow up on that, so just a little bit more freedom from the bottom side though. And
big item timing lead. Blade and Rod of Ages completed. It's because Faker spent more gold on the CDR boots. He'll have it soon.
Yeah. Feeling like he needs to just get as many bombs out as possible. I don't know about that Bard ult, but it's okay.
He thought Faker didn't have enough mana for speed up.
Faker definitely is thinking about more than one thing at a time in those situations.
And he preserved his flash without dying.
Exactly.
Gets the rod.
Presence of mind. If Faker died there while holding a slash, so I would be so worried for the tilt.
There you go, one and the other. 30 CS lead here for Stixxay in the bot lane.
This is still pretty standard. I mean, nothing has really happened that's that interesting this game yet. That's that unexpected. CLG doing a good job of playing to their win conditions. Going to push down this turret, despite the fact that they start with the Blade of the Ruin King.
Good roam again.
Yep, good roam again from Huhi. They really know how to play with this Aurelion Sol. Probably something that none of these teams have ever scrimmed against, so...
So, as a question, which Korean team do you think would be the team to like ape CLG and play the Aurelion Sol in this way?
KT.
Because it's a cheese pick, or because
It's not a cheese pick, it just allows you a lot of mobility.
obviously in the context of this tournament, it's a cheese pick. Like picking in the first game is pretty cheese picky. But I mean, anything that got Fly, roam, and lane pressure would be amazing because he doesn't have a champ that does that. Except Malzahar. Speaking of cheese picks.
Probably would have been pretty dangerous not having enough vision past the turret.
I feel like Fly is also going to play Ziggs with that new, like, explode the
No!
turret thing. You know, because
I
explodes
know.
turret. At least the ult doesn't do double damage to minions anymore, so
Yeah.
Ziggs might be alright to watch.
I don't know, that turret exploding thing is pretty bullshit.
Phenomenally strong though. Sivir is the best, or one of the best teamfight AD carries right now. Late game.
Ziggs is definitely going to be played with that, by the way. It's just too strong at objective control.
I mean, it is from, like, 20 to 30% scaling, so 20% of a turret. It's interesting, because, like, when you see the videos, it doesn't look as egregious, but the numbers on paper look egregious. Especially because they're buffing turrets, so that's where it becomes more interesting. It's like, when you look at the patch notes and they're like, removed boot enchants, we want to reduce mobility. I'm like, so Sivir's better. Excellent.
Wunderbar.
Wunderbar. She was already the best champion.
About 1.3. We'll see how CLG can use this. 17 on the clock. And it looks like the pressure goes toward the top lane.
So what we're going to see here is SKT. Now, again, this would be much more effective from CLG if that Hurricane was here, because SKT's going to match the lane assignments of CLG, and they just have more wave clear at this point in time, so you can't actually snowball your turret lead. And instead, what you're doing right now if you're CLG, because you pushed into the bottom side, as you can see here, Poppy is going to push in all the way, this minion wave, and then Echo's just going to pick it up, so they don't even deny anything.
Ironically also, Echo in a long lane is very strong at chasing down. He's actually just the recipe away from finishing Gauntlet, and they have double TP and Dragon spawning, so you're really incentivized to TP on it, so bot lane is actually in a wonderful spot to punish CLG.
Yeah, I just don't agree with this at all. Like, the Hurricane first would have solved so many of CLG's problems in this particular laning phase and allowed them to snowball this lane advantage so much harder than it ended up being, because now it's basically useless. Like, you can't really do anything, and look at the CS lead that Duke is managing to acquire here. Yes, that's matched by Stixay's CS lead, but if you can't continue to take objectives and going into the late game where the Sivir is going to just be tearing through your composition that only has one true tank in it, it's pretty problematic. I mean, the other thing with Aframu's Bard against the Sivir in the late game is
That was a really nice predictor.
Yeah. And this was just a total botch by CLG. This was a really bad play because they know, like, you just have to consider what teams know in advance, right?
I love the pacing.
So, why is this terrible? Okay, well, first off,
Let's pause before it starts.
Your Aurelion Sol doesn't have pressure. Faker is moving into the top side of the river.
Double TP's up.
Double TP's up. The Echo just pushed out. You know that. Your Poppy's in the bottom lane, trying to keep the wave off your tier 1. So when you actually try and make a play right now, you're basically just asking for it because you can't, it is like a 5v4 for SKT right here because Aurelion Sol can't get there faster, and you're going to be missing out on minions in the bottom lane, which is going to put Poppy even further
And
behind.
even as another point, there's a pink in the river. There's basically exclusive vision for SKT in this river, and they know that Zillion and Graves went in that direction. So Aurelion Sol, theoretically you might be like, oh, Aurelion Sol get there before Graves. He can't walk, he can't fly past damage. So he's 100% going to have to go super risky and basically get his path stopped. So it's always going to be a numbers advantage for SKT.
Yeah, and you can see right here, they nullify a lot of the damage. The Cosmic Binding, I don't even know why you throw out Cosmic Binding into Unbreakable.
That's 3
right
Cosmic
there.
Bindings in a row that's been blocked.
But he knows the Unbreakable is up.
So one of the reasons you do it, so Crepa says it on commentary, but basically that's like 2.5 seconds the time cooldown for Unbreakable than there is for Q. So it's like throw it out and then engage the next time. But You know, in this particular case, it doesn't work. You know, because if it's 7 seconds and 16 seconds, theoretically, you can get the next Cosmic Binding.
I just don't see it, but that's okay.
So Wolf clips him here. I think it's a predict. I can't tell if it's a miss. I think it was more of a predict, but, you know, the exhaust into the ult.
Yeah, and of course they're ready to go on this. You see 2 TPs happening right now. Right? And where does Duke end up coming in? Where's Duke?
I feel like we could see it better if we moved. Just let it go. Let it play.
Oh, there's Duke. Where did he come from?
He was bottom. You can see he's teleporting just under your HD icon.
I know he's teleporting. I'm trying to figure out where he teleports to.
It's the same ward.
He teleports up here. No, it was not. I knew it wasn't the same ward.
Okay.
That would have blown North America's collective mind. Just
you made that line yesterday.
I know. It's just that never gets old. So, I mean, this is just a mess. Like, Aurelion Sol can't be there right now. So, it's just incredibly greedy, and yes, that's a good Bard ultimate coming out, but there's no follow-up, so it doesn't actually matter at all.
So let's review. What should SKT have done? They've taken the bot turret, which is exactly what they should have done, through lane pressure from their Aurelion Sol.
CLG.
CLG, sorry, yes. What should they have done? Is it just because they path so aggressively into lane?
Well, okay, at the very least,
they want to take this turret,
you push up the mid lane. You don't make a play with, you know they're both right here.
Yes.
Like, you have to have some sort of mid priority to get the roam into the top side so that they can't do this.
So is this the mistake?
No,
walking into lane so aggressively?
The mistake. What they should do right here. Here's what I think they should do. This play is fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. What you want to do is try and force the TPs, right?
I mean, it's not fine for Stixxay to go that aggressive.
Well, I don't know why he flashed in that direction either. Like, watch his flash.
He tries to predict and gets owned.
Yeah. But at the very least, the angle of that ultimate cuts them off from any kind of retreat right here. Because just look at it. This is actually a very good ultimate because it's funneling everybody over here. Duke's coming in up here. Faker's right here. And Blank is right here coming up the river.
But just to review the trading from Stixxay. The start is fine, changing targets is fine. Why does he take the next 2 autos? Like,
yeah.
That's the part where you're just going to get stuffed. Like, the issue is that Bang has both summoners. Like, it's okay to get a trade in and then kite backwards, because 3.5 seconds is a long time, but you're not going to kill Bang. So the last 2 autos, I think, are the big problem. I just love Fade Away Zillion Q's this central. He's like, eh.
And the problem with Aphromoo in this, or Aphromoo's Bard in this composition too, is that Sivir is just massacres Bard in the late game. Like, there's one ricochet crit will take away like half his HP bar. So there's not really a way you can even get in range to do anything to anybody.
Look at the ult versus ult matchup, right? Sivir's speed just makes it almost impossible to get a meaningful Bard ult.
And the spell shield too, going to prevent a lot of the stuff that Bard can do to you in terms of crowd control. So I don't know. I think it's good for lane, but it is just, I feel like, just mostly a lane pick against the composition that SKT is
You can do some
rolling.
really interesting stuff for Bard against Zillion ult as well, though. Like, and also it can negate the Zillion Q damage.
Yep.
So, like, I don't think it's abysmal, but I follow what you're saying. The AD carry versus support matchup's not ideal. Who starts taking a lot of damage. I think you have to go Abyssal. It seems too greedy.
Well, and the thing, too, is he's going to get a lot of HP, but the crits in the late game are still going to melt him in the front line.
But the double bombs are going to melt him, too, because he doesn't have any magic resist. But the Rylai's is so important, I think.
So Blank actually goes ahead and takes away the blue buff right here. They try and take this dragon. Now, they're not going to get this. I think they could have done perhaps a little bit more here, but they do just fade off of it instead. They don't necessarily... I mean, they have enough wards to suspect that Darshan isn't there, but he was back at base, and they don't necessarily know for sure. So they just go for the steal instead, but that's really optimistic against a Callista.
And they get the turret.
Yeah, they trade for the turret, so it's okay. But it is slightly concerning that CLG already has 2 dragons sub 20 minutes.
By Rift Toad.
Sometimes casters hide their true feelings.
At a toe-to-toe, having fun in the top lane, trying to make themselves a bit bigger. 188 to 1.
Yeah, and there's just no pressure now.
Semi-even there.
Like,
the other thing we can talk about, you know, we talked a lot about Blade versus Hurricane. Also, if you have Hurricane, Bard can be more free because you don't have to be kind of standing next to Callista worrying about
So longer lanes coming
getting
in,
harassed
and
when
of
she's
course,
trying to
the
wave clear.
4-4.
Like, it frees up the support, and Bard is the best roaming support.
The classic good old 1-3-1. CLG playing at 4-1.
I mean, Alice is probably better, but you know, he gets
Yeah,
the
yeah,
chimes.
yeah,
so.
yeah.
Potential bad matchups. He has very interesting summoners choices actually, because very rarely, like, I feel like we don't see healed that often. in terms of
So we're not going to
efficiency,
see
but always
much,
get
at
some
least for the
value out of it.
moment.
Let's take the Aurelion Sol with heal.
I mean, one of the big factors is that you know you changed, and you're not trying to bury or kill people when you're going all in.
Yeah.
That is something that can get your head here. But MSI, the caliber of play doesn't allow for that. And these teams are
So they try and just zone people off the turret right here.
Devour's very early.
Yeah, Devour is quite early. But this Kindred is far more than most Kindreds do. Not a lot of ganking so far in this game. And Huhi using that advantage. So they swapped the lane, so it's Huhi's job just to clear out the bottom side right now, because he can actually respond and move across the map quickly in case anything happens. The delayed hurricane means that now CLG has basically lost all forms of pressure on the map. They don't really have anything to work with anymore. And this is playing into SKT's hands because they are going to be really confident in their ability to play the late game with this composition.
You should win late game fights with this comp pretty comfortably.
Yeah.
But they do struggle, as we know. One bomb each. No, that's actually what I said. Good job, Riv. Right in the necklace.
So this shouldn't happen, right? This shouldn't be a thing that's happening at this point in the game. Especially because there's just nobody down here on the bottom side right now to pick it up. So how does this actually end up happening?
Well, then Soul starts roaming.
Well, starts coming back up to mid lane, but pushes the wave, right? And is pinged out. So when they know Aurelion Sol is still pushing that wave in the bottom lane,
Happy to
they're
walk up even with 2 minions only.
yeah. And they have the zoning from the bombs. Jungler's there.
They took. See, that's the thing, is that SKT are smart enough to take turret shots when they know they can.
Yeah.
They take two or three to get 3 or 4 autos in, which is a big win. And now it doesn't matter what Aurelion Sol does.
Yep. And they're able to get the entire wave in the bottom side too eventually. This is all working out very well. This is again, just like we saw yesterday, this is a tighter early objective game from CLG, or from SKT rather, than they were playing previously.
There's no way it could be worse. Let's be real.
They have Tempered Fate's Call. They have the Aurelion Sol. They have a teleport to their disposal. Maybe they're disincentivized to go for these plays because of the double TP and the revive mechanic. Spell Shield is obviously very hard to make a pick on too, so in that sense, it's very hard to go against SKT, but I feel they need to start making some moves, because late game, I mean, these team fights with Echo, Zillion, Sivir.
Remember, Aurelion Sol has no armor, but a lot of
Ooh,
chase.
mistake on Spell Shield.
Bang flashes right behind Wolf. Wolf with a very nice shield to knock him on it. Smithy, Lamb's respect goes right down. And I don't know if this is going to be the killer. Smithy tries to deny vision towards a brush. It's a flash forward from Duke. He's coming on the TP.
It's a nice ult right there from Darshan.
Darshan played fantastic this day.
He just perfectly needs. And now Stixay has actually got
Duke's gonna die without using his ultimate. And let's talk about the setup for this. So right here, what ends up happening is that Bang gets hit by one of the orbiting spheres.
And gets, yeah.
So it clips the spell shield
Yeah.
right there, so he actually gets stunned. That's like pretty well timed by Huhi, because you can tell he's keeping the outer orbit, like
Yep.
trying to make that happen.
Because you can hold on to the stun as long as you want.
Yep.
Well, not as long, but like for a lot longer, so you don't have to stack the CC or stack the spell shield.
Yeah,
It's really clever.
Yep.
But that's once again Bang not knowing how to play against Aurelion Sol.
Because if he had known that, he would have flashed earlier, right?
Yes.
So I think that you're right. It's either a mistake and he does know, or probably more likely he doesn't know, because that's an easy thing to flash, or even just heal out of.
But you know what's the fun thing is that this interaction is...
Or ult out of. He still has his ult up.
Remember, the moment you get rallies, though, this is like deadly. Like, you have to flash because the slow will come out.
I mean, he just has to ult, actually.
Yeah, but with rallies, it's going to be slowed and...
No, he can ult right now and get away.
Sure. At that point,
Yeah.
literally before the Q's channel.
But he clearly doesn't really know what he's doing. And as said, tries to play a little bit greedy right there. Now, SKT thinks, okay, well, we have the...
So Graves is in the lane at Krugs. At Krugs.
Yeah, Xmithy's coming through, but they know Xmithy's there because there's a ward in the brush right up here. And Graves is here. Now they know they can double TP, and they know that Callista and... They probably know that Callista and Bard are in the mid lane. Yes, they do. Faker sees both of them right there.
Yep, the bomb came through. Are you sure that Smithy was spotted? I mean, at that point, but not before he hopped over.
Yeah.
It was a pink.
Well, actually, that was a sweeper, but...
Oh, so he probably wasn't actually seen at all.
Well, you would see the light go out, but...
That was actually some other big, like, solar things to see, man.
Yeah.
So no teleports.
But in any case, they're not actually feeling that threatened right now because of what they just saw in the mid lane, right? So that's why Blank goes in the first place.
First teleport once again is Darshan, to be clear.
Yep.
It's going to be a late teleport from Duke, and once again he's on a guy who wants to be there early.
Yeah. Also, just the chrono shift on the support, I think you just let Wolf die right there. There's no reason
You
to
got two people
revive
instantly
Wolf.
coming. Like, sure,
Yeah.
Bard will be there soon, but Callista's not going to be there. It's still going to be 4v4.
Yeah. So that was... I think that's just a waste. I also think Duke gets a little bit...
He gets owned this fight.
Well, where is his shadow for most of this?
Does he ult?
No, he never ults. His shadow's here, dives over. His shadow's right here, right now, on top of him. And he basically could have just ulted in place right now, and he decides not to do that.
Is there any cast time for the ultimate when it comes to dodging the Bard ultimate? I feel like you get stuffed. I feel like you do get caught because there is a travel time of like 0.5 seconds. I don't know if he could have actually gotten out of the Bard ultimate.
Perfectly needs, and now Stixay has actually got
And there's
here
a
in
stuff.
time. It's been a change in...
But it doesn't actually have to happen that late either,
Sure,
is the thing.
sure, I'm just...
It can happen... Oops.
He just a cleanup most likely here. Duke hanging out. Parallel convergence.
It could have happened
Yeah.
right there.
Where's his shadow then?
Right here.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been... He's ignited, but it would have been some sort of heal.
It's better than not using it, I
Sure,
think.
sure. That part I agree with.
The shield he just perfectly needs.
And finally, Callista gets there, obviously, and Duke dies. Wolf dies again. The revive on Wolf was absolutely pointless, so it was a misplay there by SKT. But CLG, they do a good job, of course, getting rid of that initial flash, 2 summoners away from Bang, and that's why they go in on this one. But again, like you said, the faster teleports make a huge amount of difference, as does getting Blank out of that fight. Like, that's a really good ult from Darshan right here, because he eliminates Blank, who is kind of their last hope for damage, right? Because Bang is too low to really walk up. Faker can only do damage in very limited timing windows, so they really needed Blank to be there.
Well, it's also a really big problem that Duke has been second or poor on teleports consistent, because he actually leveled up a lot in career. He was famous for being a bad teleport player on Najin. He was a lane soloist. And on SKT, at least at the second half of the season, he was getting better, but he's actually being exposed at this tournament, because he's on a champion that needs to teleport first, and he's late every time.
He has consistently had this problem. I'd say, for my opinion of Duke, is it's still pretty much game to game. It did look better in the playoffs and towards the end of the season.
But you have to know that
he still has the odd off game when it comes to TP.
I just feel like you have to know your role, and on this champion, it needs to be early, if anything.
So it's actually very hard to spell shield looking at it because it's a mind game.
And he was far enough away not to get interrupted by Darshan too. So, but
Well, if you remember yesterday, he was like pretty crazy about walking a kilometer away before he teleported.
paranoid.
Alright, well, watch this again. So it starts.
We've seen this.
Yeah, we've seen it enough times.
So, but it's a good response from CLG, right? But theoretically, they shouldn't be winning that fight. And SKT did the right thing by taking that fight based on their knowledge of Aphromoo and Stixay. Yes, Aphromoo can get there very quickly with the magical journey, but still, SKT should have always had the man advantage there. They just messed it up.
Gold is still there at 42,000 nearly apiece.
But CLG also got the early advantage of that fight by forcing out summoners from Bang. If Bang had summoners in that fight and had just used his ultimate to start off, it would have been a lot better. That's not going to do anything. But it does zone them off the dragon at the very least, so they can go ahead after this objective.
Iceborne Gauntlet. Duke, he's also committed at this point. Duke's not coming, no teleport.
Yeah, they're just going to go after the turret instead.
Do you like that lane assignment, though? Just swapping third dragon for an inner turret? Because they've opted into this. He's up there.
Yeah, I mean, they know this is going to happen, right? It does keep him ahead of Poppy, I suppose, nominally, but not really. I don't really like this. They would have to deal with a fight where their AD carry has 2 summoners down and Stixay has 2 summoners up, which is a major concern. Everybody on CLG still has
Summoner
Flash.
disadvantage, Kindred Callista, Bard to turn.
Yeah,
Bard's ult
I think
back
you give
up.
this up.
Okay. It's just the percentage play, if you know what I mean.
CLG is staying right on top of that, giving themselves a variable. And another win condition here against SKT.
Yeah, I think you give it up, but it's not something that you would have obviously liked to have given up, but given the results of the last fight, I don't know how many choices you have.
Feels bad, man.
It does. And now they're in a pretty big hole right here because the dragon stacking is getting very threatening and they're not that far ahead when it comes to gold. It's another missed flash Q from Afro. Like, his Qs really, I don't feel, have been on point this game.
He's no Dumbledore, who's actually amazing in that game we watched.
Yeah. That's kind of a fail ult right there from Wolf, but it does enough.
It's going to split the team a little bit more as they know Darshan's coming up top. There's the Duke Darshan fight, but they're going to try to split off and take down the squishies. Wow, SKT is just getting routed right now in their HP bars.
Wolf is the sacrifice right there based on this play, but the setup from here is what SKT wants to do is take down that turret, and they think they have a safe exit through the jungle.
Because Duke has pressure, so he's able to walk directly through.
But this is mostly Faker's fault because he stays too long. The rest of his team is on the retreat, and what ends up happening right here, as you can see, is that the Callista is going to come up, and because Braum and Faker, Wolf and Faker are not on the same page as Bang is trying to stop, you know, dealing with this turret right now, he gets so greedy and walks up on Afro move for a... That's really bad.
Faker should never be in Blade of the Ruin King range.
Yeah.
Like, he thinks he has enough pressure for that, but that's like 100
But
units
that's another split call that they had because everyone else was trying to take the safe path because the minion wave is pushed up and you have your Echo here. All they had to do was push this out and then rotate all the way back down.
Yeah.
They could have just come through here and then moved all the way back down to defend their mid turret, but they don't do that. And instead they lose a fight, which probably will cause them to lose their mid turret too. Should cause them to lose their mid turret.
Small communication error there. Everyone was looking for the temper.
Why are they milling around the Baron?
He did the right thing. He didn't panic. He just uses to reposition himself after.
Right now, Bang has basically no mana. Wolf is dead, so he can't actually block anything that's coming in onto the turret, and instead they make this garbage play right here.
Tell us how you really feel.
Like, what is that? They can't do the Baron yet this early with how much HP they had left over.
And Darshan flashed over the wall just to get it. It's a gap close.
Just push the mid lane. You had everything you wanted right there. They can't defend it. Look who has no mana. It's Faker. Look, well, he has a blue buff, but Bang also has no mana. You had 5 people able to go ahead and push after that skirmish, after you win this.
The mini wave's coming up as well.
Easy. The mini wave is coming up. And look, I thought that's what they were going to do. Aurelion Sol goes back to intercept the mini wave and take that out. And then there's just...
It's because they get the blue buff spawn, like they know the timer, and they feel they need to contest it, but the end result is...
But they can contest it because if they're pushing down the mid lane turret, if they don't go to defend it, then they get a free mid lane turret. And if they do go to defend it, they probably still get a mid lane turret, and then they can invade and get the blue buff afterwards.
This is just strange. The flash, I mean, like, it's such a commitment, too.
Faker has flash shot.
But, yeah, and so does Blank.
You're just not going to get anything.
Blank even has ult for the 800 units of displacement.
And you'll trade that collateral damage for the Kindred ult every time. And they also had the blue trinket up to go ahead and check that, so they don't actually have to worry too much about a Baron going down. Alright, finally they're going to get the mid lane turret. So at least they got it in the end.
All is well.
All is well, I suppose. I just don't think you even have to go for that in the first place. That's just me.
We popped Blue Elixir here. He has Blue Elixir now. Interesting that he gets that so early.
There's the block onto Star.
The Braum shield actually destroys
Poppy's walking out.
AoE stun from Huhi. So if he goes in for a massive play, we'll look at that later. Faker gets bound.
Faker chrono shift is up. That's going to be an instant stun. The shift takes him down.
Why do they kill him?
More time to work with it. The
They've
power
killed people with Zillion ults a lot.
It gives them 3 members of SKT to fight.
We never saw that in Korea.
No. Well, I mean, you did, but not intentionally like that. Not so obviously.
So if he goes in for a massive flame,
So that's a good ult. That's a
The
good...
Poppy's gonna be there first. He already left lane a while ago.
Yeah, and that's a good ultimate
Yeah.
right there from Aframu. They catch Faker, who's too far up. Duke is still on the bottom side. Duke has to TP, while Poppy doesn't.
Good cue from Hu. He stuns him on the back end.
Yeah, so if he's still stunned here, the correct play with this Poppy, all you have to do is these guys just walk forward and put damage here.
Yeah.
You don't put damage
So
on
who
if
kills him? Is it just sticks there?
Yeah.
He's at 500 health now. That auto's fine. You stop now. I guess Hui doesn't toggle. No,
No,
not
6-8
auto.
intentionally autos him right there instead of walking forward.
If there was 25 gold, at least you could call it worth.
Takes him down. They have a little bit more time to work with it.
Darshan, casual 2-man ult.
Alright, that's
sick ult.
good. Darshan's team fighting on Poppy has been quite good.
Gives them 3 members of SKT to fight. And
But
Wolf
you're just not going to catch up to these guys at this point.
didn't have, oh, they did have shoulder.
And then the
So this was
bombs.
really funny. So if you actually follow what happened, Faker was bombed before. Palm sticks it already,
Yep.
and then Afro has to kite backwards from the queue and dies to the AoE on the bomb. Hilarious.
So support for support in the end, but it started off on a pick that CLG absolutely should have gotten because Faker was playing pretty disrespectfully.
Darshan dropping low bombs 'cause the echo goes in. He's out.
Crappo. Too much Duvel.
No, he lives. In the end, the bomb doesn't connect. 6-8 and it's Smithy walks those bombs
Truck Rivington is
forward.
number
But
one.
it's going to be for the valiant attempt to get more kills. Wolf bites down on Blank, who he doesn't have any more chase. And the entire team of SKT limps
We can probably
away.
do that now.
I
You were
was-
just indulging by the end. You were just indulging.
I was just enjoying it.
What an incredible back and forth fight, and it highlights the strengths of both compositions. We'll get into that once we get the replay, because CLC right now, they have the stronger members left, more HP, which means they can actually go
Baron
for the
start.
Baron here.
Excellent Baron start, because Darshan can
Both
solo tank it.
compositions.
Yep.
And remember, he didn't have to use his
It's
teleport. He
TP, right?
walked up.
So it's a really good shot call here. And the people who are hurt, who needs to go back is like pretty much just Huhi. So the TP comes in.
We'll get into that once we get the replay, because CLC right now,
So no ultimates though from Darshan, Huhi, or Stixay right now.
more HP, which means they can
And
actually
they're
go
going
for
to
the
try
Baron.
and just go for the Baron, but Faker has TP. He's the only one though. No, well, the ults from Faker and Bang should be back up pretty soon.
It's excellent, Baron.
But really good Baron call, I agree.
In a tough spot right now, buddy.
But Faker actually,
So he teleports to contest, but he teleports into Raptor Pit. That's the only ward he has that's...
well, that's the only thing he can do.
Yeah.
His choices are mid lane or Raptor Pit. I would take the Raptor Pit. And because look at the way that Bang and Duke, so when they come out, there was a call right here, so they're coming over here.
Yeah.
And that means it's going to corral the members of CLG back up this way.
Are you being corralled when you're 4-man, 5-man running into
Well,
a
as
Zillion?
long as the Zillion actually hits his skill shots and has that chrono shift
He got
of
stunned by
himself.
Huhi from who was in the brush.
Yep.
So now he has to ult himself instantly.
He's getting pushed back.
Yep.
And it's gonna
But
be
it buys
SKT
time,
trying
right?
to
Sure.
pile forward.
That's the thing. And he does revive himself, and they are able to get on Smithy, force that ultimate out. And no one else can be on it right now either.
I only objected to corralled. I would have said encouraged.
Is going to go down as a result. That's Blake.
But just the speed with the Sivir and the chase from Echo with the Iceborne, there's not really much you can do there.
It felt like SKT this game, at least. For the first time since the first day.
Yeah. And like they couldn't get the stun on Faker. Not that it would have mattered, really.
No, he ulted super early.
Yep.
There was no way to stack CC, so he was always going to revive.
And the Sivir ult just came up, too. So they're able just to pop that and go in on it. Faker's just going to flash immediately after reviving. And there's so many members of SKT that can go onto this Kindred ultimate right
Double
now.
bombed Smithy, but he was going to die one way or the other.
Yeah.
Darshan's the next target. The next target is the turret because CLG cannot stand toe-to-toe with this comp.
Yeah, the power of friendship does not prevail there. They're trying to help out Xmithy, who gets caught trying to buy time, but Darshan goes down in the process too. Too many ultis.
What's Twitch chat talking about?
Yep.
So SKT looking to
Dig
equalize
Baron
the Baron
toss.
They think, well, there's this one guy who thinks you should stop criticizing the plays and insulting players and just review the game. Which I didn't really understand, but
That guy is a winner.
That guy is a winner.
yeah.
So,
Baron here.
I mean, the chase down is huge here, and Wolf is going to block the star again, and that means no AoE stuns, so he's way too close to this turret while it's about to go down, even with his ultimate coming back off cooldown.
What
because-
exactly is his ult going to do to fight
No,
people?
no. And he really only has... Since they're so spread out, too.
But Kindred, Callista knows what to do. He's like, gets the fuck out.
Yeah.
Blasted back. He tries to go with the voice of light, but it doesn't
Just too much crowd control there that you're not going to be able to actually move if you're that far forward. So basically now you just lose an inhibitor.
that LCK thought would be bringing to the
Who he plays this very well.
6A trying to go hard and prevent
Stixay?
all of
Stixay,
that.
sorry.
And it's only
Look
gonna
at me,
be
I'm just all
one.
over the place today. But yeah, Stixay's really smart with his position the whole way through. It's who he overextending makes it harder for him, but
Knock them to the outer bounds far enough, and they're still
Oh, they're not actually going to get the inhibitor, actually. I remember that now.
ready to beat
that's a really nice close to play.
that LCK thought would be bringing
Yep.
to the
Just
MSI
playing around the flank.
6A trying to go hard and prevent all of that. And it's
He also
only gonna
casually,
be
like,
one. Blank goes down, but still
dodges
three
like
members of
3
CLG
bombs. It's actually really
are
well
waiting
played.
to
And the
come up,
power
and the
conversions.
inhibitor falls as SKT puts their mark on this game finally.
Also, they want you
CLG
to
with a
stop
risky
flashing
defense,
your
unwilling
cleavage
to
so
sacrifice
much.
their inhibitor, but if they get clean there,
Is that what they
there's a
want?
lot more, so a bold move, but it
I don't
doesn't
think they
help.
want that at all.
They want modesty, Monte Cristo. They come to the wrong fucking stream.
Twitch chat wants
I'm-
modesty.
I'm a Twitch staff member. We don't really like too much.
Sorry.
Please, there's a limit here. There's TOS to be followed.
It's probably on your streaming contract, Monty.
Oh,
There you
God.
go. Thank you very much. I'll take all of that.
So a lot of people decided to overextend to stop these turrets coming down.
Making a great play for Baron, but SKT saw
Hui actually did really well. So he actually like flew over to get into that position for the stun. That was sick.
Yeah, I definitely saw the TP coming in there to set that one up. And probably assumed because of the TP location that there wasn't actually awarded that brush, otherwise Faker would have TP'd there instead.
Because this part's fine. You get the 2 kills. I mean, that makes sense with the civ roll. It's just it's Hui's death that's... So, because Stixay knows what his role is. It's to look tasty but not get anywhere near any skill shots. But Hui just walks up to like wave clear or something.
Well, I think he thought he was going to be able to get that stun, but Wolf still had the Unbreakable up, and therefore he couldn't actually get it. And they push through right there, which is nice. Force Wolf back. That is a really early... we don't really know what happened up there.
Where's the health buzz now? They're pretty healthy right now.
Yeah, just how did Xmithy get bursted? Oh, Blanca ulted him. So... basically, they're split up right now. There are 4 members of SK Telecom on their flank, and no one else up there. So they actually do have to pop the Kindred ult very, very early on that. And they... does Hui flash before the heal goes down?
We can find out. Manager Spy. Manager Spy. Heal. Not yet, not yet. You have to watch Xmithy. Xmithy hasn't been healed yet.
Well, the thing's still on the ground,
Yeah.
so... yes, he does actually flash before the...
Is he looking for a kill?
He's trying to go onto blank, it would
And
appear, or
bang.
bang, it would appear. So he's trying to set up a position onto that. Looks like
That works.
it does work, but it does also cost him his life, so they trade 1 for 1. Darshan is also the only one caught in the Bard ultimate right
And bang.
there.
Oh.
Yeah, Faker flashes to get the chrono shift down.
So that was actually the Bard ultimate giving Faker time to get in position.
Yep. Well, Darshan was the only one who was ulted.
No,
so-
no, it was also bang.
Oh, bang is there. I just couldn't
Yeah.
tell because he's underneath.
Yeah. And then he gets ulted the moment he comes back up. He's just spamming it in the area. Yeah, he was underneath.
But this is a man advantage basically for SK Telecom the entire time.
So the thing I think that's the issue is that
Duke using the magical journey right there was super good
if you
too.
track it back, like they got the free turret. CLG's doing what they should. The issue is that you know, you have the people creeping around thinking about the next move. You're against Zillion Sivir. Like, you can... They rotate so fast that you have to be so careful on the flanks trying to do cute things.
It's just a split call. First off, okay, let's break this down a little bit more. So first off, they go through with the turret and they try and catch Wolf. They get the heroic charge onto Wolf, so they've got him stunned. But watch how Faker plays this fight super well. So there are 3 people down here. Now remember that 2 damage dealers, the jungler and the AD carry, are up here, and they're going to find the mid laner and the jungler of CLG alone. So what Faker's going to do is he's going to double bomb this choke point right here, so that they have to pick up the bombs in order to walk through. So there's 1, there's 2. Meanwhile, we see Huhi using his stun this way, and it blows up right here. So he doesn't have a stun anymore, and this doesn't actually do anything. It doesn't zone anybody out, because SK Telecom isn't the team that's trying to go through here. They're trying to go up here instead. So basically, this buys SK Telecom time to get what is effectively a 4-on-2 against the jungler.
The only thing I object to in your reasoning, which is correct, is that the thing you have to remember is that against any other team, taking an objective and then rotating for bonus objectives is what you do. Against this team, they have both zone control and so much speed up that these 2 people end up being stragglers instead of being the first ones to rotate. Because you've got Baron buff, you've got good wave clear, it makes sense to go for something extra. It's just Zillion Sivir's going to fucking punish you.
Well, Zillion Sivir, and I don't know if the parallel converge... There it is. There's the parallel convergence, right?
It doesn't do anything.
But it could have done something. That's the thing, is it's another zone. If somebody is...
They can't go there.
Yeah, they can't walk there, because otherwise we'll assume that the phase dive is up right now.
So they know they're going for bonus objectives and completely take out a choke, forcing a 4v2.
Yes. So it's a really well-played team fight by SKT. And you just saw right there, you saw the Graves ultimate get used onto Xmithy, and he's going to take a huge amount of damage. So Darshan has to follow this up. It's already a 4 versus 2 on this side.
Yeah. And Kalista, if you notice, is actually almost on the inhibitor turret instead.
Yeah. And Duke still... Well, Duke's TP is not quite up yet, but they try and make that trade, except Bang doesn't actually die, thanks to the Bard ultimate. And Stixxay tries to get around onto the flank right there, but unfortunately Bang is going to get revived. Blank is just going to flash out. And Duke also just gets up here faster, so it's going to be a 4v3. Xmithy's already almost dead, and Duke is now blocking the escape of the members of CLG. So Darshan is left in a 4 versus 1.
It's worth noting that if Bang died, I think CLG win this fight. Because Blank is DPS'd out, Bang is dead, and they only have Duke and utility. So...
Well, I don't think... But see, the thing is, if Bang died right there, SKT backs off this fight.
Sure.
It's what would have happened probably is it's just a 1-for-1 trade at that point. Because you're not going to keep fighting this team with the Baron if you don't have to. So your work has already been done if you kill Huhi, because they're going to have to back off after that.
But they get the bonus, right?
They get the bonus, yeah, for sure.
Clearing Barons is what you want, but the bonus is getting a kill trade.
But that was quite well played from SK Telecom to go around on the flank right like that. And Huhi tried to make that trade work, but unfortunately the Bard...
What a fuck-off choke. 2 bombs and a parallel convergence.
Try
and walk through this shit. It might as well have just been an Azir Emperor's Divide.
Trying to get the frontline kills, and Duke Chrono shifts back after some great play, holding off 2 members of Counterlogic Gaming.
Yeah, 5 members enter that fight for CLG, but only 2 leave right now, and they're heading down to the mid lane. Desperately trying to defend. Their teleport comes in.
That was an excellent fucking turn. I mean, that was really well done.
Faker's still not playing super well. He speeds up right here.
But
yes, but under the circumstances, that's about as well as you could have done.
It was so clean because he tried to use a minion to taxi his way defensively, saw the teleport, and just killed Faker.
Yeah,
great.
Good turn.
Stixxay's a legit, really good Kalista. At least judging on this particular game and thinking back to the season.
Here, 1 inhibitor remains here in the mid lane. That's going down, and 2 Nexus towers.
It's going to be SKT.
That's just going to be the end of the game.
This was a cool game.
It was a cool game.
If you follow that choke and just the fact that CLG went for the faster rotation and all the utility and speed ups got them caught and won SKT the game.
Yeah, and I do really wonder if this game would have been different if Stixxay had just built Hurricane first instead of Blade. And they have been able to apply more pressure early.
Yeah, it feels bad to track back and like look at that, because, but it's just so many things happen, right? Like he went to the top. But to be fair, they probably try the over-aggressive pathing into top lane and get punished whatever item he builds.
Yep.
But so probably not. But it does make you wonder.
Yeah, the big mistake, like you're saying with that play, even if he had Hurricane, that Faker and Blank still had the faster path and who he was still on the outside of that play. So
But like
really
CLG, so SKT looks so much more decisive and more SKT.
Yeah.
How much of that is Sivir and Zillion? Like the speed ups, they were always in the right spot. And while they made some nice map plays, like what did we say yesterday? I was like, they need to get Sivir. And like,
well, it's also true that we haven't seen a couple very CLG champions yet, which are TF and Lissandra, two of their key picks towards the end of the season, that also allow them to make very aggressive, speedy plays.
SKT champion.
SKT's, yeah. SKT's champions. So I wonder if those are going to be coming out at any point soon.
Surely.
Also, the Corki. We still haven't seen Corki.
Look, so one of the responses about Corki was that because his base AD ratio went down, I think that even interacts with Trinity Force as well.
Yeah, sure.
So I think he just gets fucked when it comes to burst. Like he loses a lot of burst. So which I don't mind. I feel like he has a place somewhere, but I really want Faker to TF and Azir. Like that was always a matchup you could try.
Yeah. Well, I want his Lissandra to come back too, but
That was a cool game. Let's
Yeah.
turn text to speech back on.